Last time we met Judy Tyler, daughter of a professor at the university where Peter attends. Her father had his mind taken over and he committed a robbery. Peter is trying to help her find out what happened, but that's not the only thing happening.
A second note has been received by the mayor in the $50 million extortion plot set for Friday noon. The writer again claims responsibility for the wave of holdups in the past 72 hours, and that they will continue as proof that he exercises complete mind control over his victims. The note to the mayor states that the 10 people who are to jump to their deaths are now being programmed and demands a statement from City Hall that payment will be made. The bomb of their destruction has been set, he warns. Only you can stop it.
Professor Tyler has been going to this self-help guru named Edward Byron. Peter knows there's something strange about what this guy is doing, but Judy is getting sucked into it. That little scene we saw is showing us that Byron is the guy doing all the mind control, and this is how he does it. Peter makes some calls, but nobody he knows of is using any equipment that would do this. Nothing to do but file it away for later. He has schoolwork to do. In the comics, Peter's spider sense would warn him about danger and give him an idea what direction it was coming from. In the cartoon, it was about as useful as a third left foot. Here it talks to him in pictures. It's putting together the sense of danger, his concern for Judy, his suspicions about Byron, and that signal, and coming up with, Spider-Man needs to get over there quick.
You're drowning. Going deeper. Deeper. Your life is finally ending, and it deserves to end. But I will give you one last chance.
My question, as usual, is who appointed him to decide this? He's another megalomaniac with a little money and an idea to be a super-duper big shot. Does he do it by inventing a better mousetrap? No, like all megalomaniacs, he does it by manipulating and dominating other people. It never fails, both in fiction and in real life. Here's a little bit of a song I'm working on about those guys. Tiny wiener in your shorts, itty bitty, don't need a cup for sports. Tiny wiener makes you feel so angry. Gotta compensate by pushing other better people around all day.
Listen carefully. Listen to what I say, each of you. You must do exactly as I ask. You, Mrs. Elkins, there is something you must do for me.
Spidey has made himself a little handheld detector and has been following that mystery signal. He's on top of Byron's building right now, and the place is bristling with antennas. Looks like it's also bristling with dust and pollen, and he forgot to take his pills again.
Oops, you broke it.
Next time, don't get cheap. Put it in a metal box. Well, there's only one way to finish narrowing this down. Time to be a peeping Tom. That's veteran stuntman Fred Waugh crawling around acting like a spider, not just in what he does, but in how he does it. If you watch his movements and then watch one of my little friends who occasionally appears on my wall here, the way he turns, looks around, and all the rest, our man is deliberately imitating those movements. I don't think I've seen another Spider-Man do that, and it adds a nice little dimension to the character. This show had several little innovations like that. He won't be able to zoom in on the source of that signal, though, because Byron just turned it off.
Goodbye. Bye, Mrs. Elkins.
Goodbye. Oh, Mr. Byron,
Yes.
I wanted to ask you something. Can't seem to remember.
When the time comes, you will.
I don't think I want to know what he means by that, but I'm sure we'll find out.
We can't wait any longer. I've programmed them all for the final step.
You sure you're not pushing us too fast? The mayor wants more time.
Naturally. Sooner or later, they'll find a way to break Tyler down. The police will find the connection in the robberies. If it's not over by Friday, we lose it all.
Friday is the deadline for the ransom, but why does that mean they lose it all? That's a little fuzzy. What's today? That's also a little fuzzy. So how many days do they have? You guessed it. You don't want to know how many years of training and discipline it took to be able to stand in that one spot 8 hours a day in case some guy in a weird costume comes along. Spider-Man couldn't believe what these guys did next. Byron is watching this from his control room.
Kill him.
Whoa, that's the first time we've seen that. What a great effect. And again, remember, these are all practical effects. No CGI here. Did you see the way he was turning on the ceiling there? That's some of what I was talking about, because your average spider on a wall works their legs just like that. I get the feeling Mr. Wall spent a lot of time studying how they move, and we get to reap the benefit. That doggone overconfidence, it'll get you every time. They assumed because they had their sticks he'd be easy. They didn't realize he has something better than sticks, special effects. He heads out the window and up the wall where they can't get to him. They'll race up to the roof and hope that's where he's going. They were right about the roof, but they were wrong about why he went there. He wasn't trying to get away. He was finding them a bigger playground. He toys with them for a while, but he has what he came for. I don't know why we didn't see him invent his web shooters. The webs were one of the effects that I had trouble with when I saw this back in the 70s, because at times it's all wispy like the stuff he covered those guys in, but other times it's a rope like it was just then. Again, practical effects could only do so much, and they gave it all they had. I understand a lot more about it than I did in 1977, so today I can watch them and say, just go with it.
He got a better act than you.
Who is he?
There's a story about him in the papers. They don't know either.
Well, he must think he's Tarzan.
I'm glad you're amused. I'm not.
Think he'll call the police?
What could they find? Now, this one's an original. He'll come back by himself.
He's right about that. Byron made a big mistake. He's messing with one of Peter's friends. He's going to learn that you don't do that. Elsewhere, Mrs. Elkins just robbed a bank.
You know what this lady does?
No.
She's a choir singer. You hear that, Monahan?
Yeah.
She sings in church on Sunday. Only on Thursday, she knocks over a bank. I want to ask her why.
But the hospital says she's critical. No visitors.
Yeah, the way our luck's been going, what else?
Monahan is hoping their psychiatrist can get something out of Professor Tyler. Barbera says, dream on.
The patient's alpha waves have been resonated. Now, what does that mean?
I don't know.
Oh, he'll get something out of him, all right. But by the time he does, Mr. Mind Control will be in Shangri-La with his 50 million. 5 respectable people suddenly don't go wacko for nothing. Keep talking to their families. Anybody who knew them. I want to know everything there is to know. Something's got to connect.
He hasn't checked these people's associations and clubs and such yet. If he did, he'd run into Edward Byron within seconds.
What do you want me to do about this Spider-Man?
Oh, I'm getting reinforcements for him.
Good.
Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. And if we're lucky, maybe Rumpelstiltskin will lend us a hand. What am I going to do about Spider-Man? How do I know? I'm a cop, not an exterminator.
Has he done anything bad? So far, you've seen him save a guy from jumping out a window. So what if he does it in his own unique way? He appears to be doing good things, so why do either of you need to do anything about him? Leave him alone. Let him do his good deeds. He calls Peter into his office and starts quizzing him about Spider-Man. He says, the next time you see this guy, tell him I want to talk to him. You got it, Captain. He'll go find him right now.
Hello, is Judy there, please? Well, do you know where I could reach her? Well, when she comes home, would you give her a message for me, please? Would you tell her that Peter called? And I said she is to stay away from Mr. Byron. She's not to go near there until I talk to her.
It might be more effective if you say please rather than trying to order her around as though she works for you. If he's determined to force the issue, he could always try blackmail. If you ever want to see your $46 again, stay away from Byron. He heads back to Byron's office. He has an idea.
I didn't expect to see you again, Mr.
Parker.
You weren't exactly overwhelmed by our program, as I recall.
To tell you the truth, I was a little bit, confused. But I've been talking to some of the other people, and I would very much like to take the program.
I'm not sure you'd be suitable, Mr. Parker. You saw a sample of how rough it can become.
That doesn't bother me.
You're sure now?
I'm sure.
He's sure this is probably the only way to get to the bottom of what Byron is doing to people.
All right, then. This is your membership pin. It'll admit you to the next meeting.
Yeah, we've seen those pins before. Byron says, let me get you some literature. Instead, he goes into his control room and starts fiddling with stuff. Peter wonders what's taking so long. That stuff is really messing with his head. He collapses into a seat.
When you leave here, you will forget that you came. You never saw me. You were never in this room. Now, the pin I placed on your jacket. Touch it. Keep it with you wherever you go. For on Friday, you will need it.
He has a very special assignment for you on Friday.
On Friday at exactly 12 noon, you will be standing at the tower of the Empire State Building. And when you hear this sound, you will jump from the tower.
Peter just became one of the 10. Let's hope he has his web shooters on him on Friday.
Crime experts agree that the demands of the extortionist are without parallel. But will the mayor agree to pay? It has now been revealed that the $50 million is to be delivered to a seaplane in the middle of New York Harbor. The instructions warn that the 10 victims will not be released from their death sentences until the extortionist has made good his escape.
Even in 1977 we had radar. It's not hard to track a plane. They weren't as sophisticated as they are today, but we even had AWACS planes that could fly way higher than that seaplane and follow it wherever it went. Thing is, those eyes in the sky don't just look. They direct fighter planes and other forces where to go and what to shoot at. $50 million doesn't mean much when you're in their sights.
The Shah of Iran today announced plans for building a new petrochemical complex in Tehran.
That man doesn't know what to do with all his money.
$200 million.
A couple of years later, he took all his money and skedaddled out of town because the radical Islamic state that kicked him out, led by Ayatollah Khomeini, didn't just want to take his money, they wanted to dispose of what little hair he had, with his head attached. That's a subject for another day. Peter is wishing Judy would call.
Where are you going, Peter?
I'll be right back.
He knows his spider sense is trying to tell him something about Byron, but he can't sort out what. I was wondering if his spider powers would have an effect on Byron's mind control. He fixed his portable detector, so it's back to Byron's place. Let's finish this. You know, if he did that just right, he could probably get them to brain each other. Instead, he'll swing away again. Or not. Shoot another web fast. I guess he hasn't gotten the hang of that part yet. Byron and company assume he's a smudge on the sidewalk. They didn't expect a griffin to rescue him. But his arm is injured, so he can't handle a big fight. He needs to get home and recover.
I'm on my way back to the garage. Where you want to go to? Hey, man, I don't want to mess with you.
Open the door, would you please? I'm not feeling well.
I'm not feeling so well myself. Excuse me, I'm in a hurry.
Look, I'm coming home from a masquerade party. Now, don't get scared.
You don't even have pockets in that suit.
Well, I'll pay you at my house.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm not taking no Spider-Man to that part of town.
What part of town? He hasn't told you where he wants to go. He's not going to get the chance to either. He quietly hitches a ride in a garbage truck since he can't exactly walk home in this getup and he doesn't have any street clothes with him. And no, he can't pretend he's a nudist exercising his rights as a patriotic American either. But he isn't going home. He's going to the campus lab. Despite having his arm in a sling, he's been sorting out Byron's signal.
Hello, Captain Barbera, please. Captain, this is Peter Parker. I know how it was done. He's been using microwave circuits. Yeah, I can show you. The computer just broke down his code. He's had all of his victims wired. Yeah, That's right. They've been wired, they receive the signals. That's how he does it. Well, you stay where you are. I'll be right down. I'll show you. I think we can jam his signal.
Unfortunately, he's wearing the jacket with the pin. He can't fight it and starts for the Empire State Building. Guess who else is one of the 10? She's supposed to jump in front of a train. We watch another guy stop on a bridge and get ready to jump. A woman climbs onto a building ledge. Byron is watching the seaplane. A police boat is approaching it now, and there's a guy on the bow holding a canvas bag.
Sorry to disappoint you boys, but the city just ran out of money. Freeze!
Okay, you don't have to get sore. We quit.
Now everyone, take it nice and easy. We don't want anyone getting wet. Come on, move along.
But the canvas bag doesn't have $50 million in it. It has 20 years for extortion. I don't know what Byron expected. The authorities at every level of this country have a long history of not giving in to terrorists, kidnappers, and extortionists. He's ready to throw his temper tantrum. He'll start with Peter Parker. Now he also knows how the people are wired. Why he didn't think of that before probably has something to do with Byron's post-hypnotic suggestions. And even if he knew where the other people were, he can't be in 9 places at once. He has to stop this at the source. That should do it. He's been eyeing those antennas all episode, but he had to wait until the script told him to destroy them. Judy and the others will pull back from their respective precipices. Byron has another problem. His equipment is generating a lot of energy, and without the antennas to dissipate it, it has to go somewhere. And it's going somewhere, straight into him. Spider-Man is off to confront Byron. With the microwaves turned off, even the stick guys don't have a problem with him anymore. They'll even open the door for him. Mr. Byron is out. Please leave a message after the drool.
Mr. Byron, you turned into one of your own zombies. I think you need a little help. If you don't mind, let me make a small suggestion. Why don't you go to the police station and tell Captain Barbera all about it?
Which he does. Jonah himself is there to get the story.
Congratulations, Captain. Those men would have flown away if you hadn't called their bluff.
Well, to tell you the truth, I had a little help. That character in the clown suit, he worked out pretty good.
That freak. He ought to be locked up, running around like a one-man army. I don't know where he came from, but I sure hope he goes back there.
Unlike the comics, this JJ doesn't consider Spider-Man a criminal, just somebody who gets in the way.
Maybe you're right. People shouldn't interfere with the law. Let the police do that.
Exactly. You men deserve all the credit for this job.
Well, if that's the way you're going to put it in your paper, how can I stop you?
He knows how powerful JJ is, so he wouldn't even try.
Peter! I'm so glad I found you. Are you all right?
Never mind about me. What about you?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm so sorry I didn't listen to you. I know you called, but...
No, it's okay. I know.
You're a girl. It's not like your minds comprehend this complicated stuff. Okay, I made that part up just to be silly. Barbera chews him out a little for not showing up, but nothing comes of it. And then there's Jonah.
What are you doing here?
Oh, sir, here, I thought you'd like to see these.
What are they? It's incredible. How come you're the only one who's able to get pictures of him?
Simple. I believe.
I enjoyed Lisa Eilbacher as Judy. We saw her once before in Shazam, and we've seen her sister Cindy multiple times. I didn't much like David White as Jonah, but that's okay because next episode we'll have a different Jonah. Thayer David terrifies me. If I ever met him, I'd be tempted to drop to my knees and say, "Don't hurt me." This plot was big enough for a good Spider-Man introduction, and it worked. Nicholas Hammond continues to delight me as Peter. Overall, based on the pilot, I get the feeling this show deserved better than 14 episodes. Things get even weirder when we realize those 14 episodes were spread over 2 seasons. The season we're on now has 6 episodes, season 2 has 8. I don't pretend to understand, so going forward, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy what we have. This promises to be a great ride. Daughter of a professor, out of processor. The antennas to zit. So far, you've seen him.